If you don't know who this character is... What the fuck was that? If you don't know who this character is, don't feel bad. I have no idea how to even put him together. Hey, my name is Mr. X. Welcome to the Extreme Channel. We are giving away $1,000 statues to you guys. If you want to know how to win one, stay tuned for later in the video. Welcome to the Extreme Channel, where today we're reviewing this custom quarter-scale Atrocitus statue. I don't know why I'm not taking breaths in between my sentences today, but anyway, it's going to be a fun day because there is a lot to cover. So first, as a disclaimer, this is Atrocitus. If you don't know who Atrocitus is, he's one of the most powerful DC villains out there. If you can catch on, he's part of the Lantern Corps, so he's a Red Lantern. So as opposed to the Green Lanterns, who are powered by will, or the Yellow Lanterns that are powered by fear, he is red, which is powered by rage. So a little bit of background about Atrocitus and the statue itself. First of all, Atrocitus is a survivor from the Peace Corps or something like that. That was the predecessor of the Green Lantern, and they wiped out most of his people because they thought they'd be evil, which in turn made him really evil, and he took some other people and became this Red Lantern that killed a lot of people. And mostly I bought him for two reasons. Number one is he really looked... What the fuck is this? Oh, going the wrong way. Wrong way, mother... I bought him because he looks really badass. And then also, I have this custom Sinestro statue right here. Quarter scale from a long time ago. It is the only remaining survivor of my quarter scale DC pieces. Simply for the packed. Oh, the flight attendant gave me 9 shots on the plane today. Took it like a champ. Simply for the fact that I had this on order and I wanted to pair those two together while I continue to look for the best Green Lantern statue ever. Still haven't found it. But I'm going to pair these two together, and I'm really excited because Atrocitus finally came in. Now, the commissioner of this is kind of a stickler for details. He wants products to be done absolutely right. So because of that, he actually switched factories a few different times. And we had to wait, I want to say 3 years for this. But definitely worth it, definitely delivered, despite some problems with the design we're going to talk about. But I'm very happy. So, as I said, Atrocitus, his power comes from rage, as opposed to like Will with the Green Lanterns, and he is just badass as hell. And I have, in full disclaimer, I've never read about him in the comics growing up. I was not a DC fan at all, especially Green Lantern. While clearly I knew who it was, I was not a huge fan. But I am a huge fan of this character and this statue, despite my little knowledge. Yes, I stuttered there, but that's pretty good considering 9 shots. It's pretty good that I was able to assemble what I could of this with 9 shots, which you'll see Mrs. X even tried to help me, and she only had 5 shots. So we're going to review this custom statue. As a reminder, custom means it's a private, unlicensed commission. I can't tell you where this came from because Warner Brothers... even though I'm sure the commissioner made no profit, so that means it was legal for him to make this, but if he made a profit, it was illegal. That's why we'll just keep it as that. Sorry, Brian. I keep giving more information about you. Who the fuck's at my front door? Oh, my son. I should probably let him in. Alright, as always, we're going to start with concept of the piece. Now, this is where my source knowledge is a little weak. So... if I get something wrong, you can go ahead and cry to your mom, or you can correct me below very politely and professionally, knowing that I'm not a DC nerd. By the way, if you're a Lord of the Rings nerd, I troll you people on purpose because it's so freaking fun. So before I talk about the concept, I just want to alert you that you can correct me on anything I get wrong, which could win you a statue even if you make a troll comment. Check this out. As we try to grow this channel, we like to reward you guys for watching and subscribing. So because of that, every 5,000 milestone when it comes to subscribers, we give away a couple $1,000s worth of statues. We've actually given away over 20 statues. To win one was easy. First, you gotta be subscribed to the channel. You'll get bell notifications when videos drop. Each video that drops, you wanna make a comment on those videos. We pick a random video, we give away statues based on a comment. You can say whatever you want. The more videos you comment on, the higher your chances are to win. All right. So starting at the base, it looks like this big bowl on the front. And again, because I don't have source knowledge, I don't know if he's making that bowl. So all the different constructs, whether it's red for rage, green for will, or yellow for fear, or even, you know, the white and all the different lanterns out there, they make constructs. That's what they do. It doesn't look like it's a construct. It very well could be. It could be a nasty raging bull. Who the hell knows? But you see all the construct red material behind him, which is great. And he's standing on top with a very fierce, menacing pose. You might have seen a proximity piece of switch outs we can do later we'll talk about. But very cool garb. Like I said, the number one attraction to me about Atrocitus is just he's a badass looking character. It makes me actually want to learn about him in the comics. So maybe one day I'll get into that if there is an omnibus or something simple I can look at. But very imposing pose at the top. The switch out I have with him now, he's actually crushing a red lantern because it's the same concept as a green lantern or a white lantern or a yellow lantern. And I like that a lot. He has a ring on his right hand and he is snarling with some more construct coming out of his mouth, which doesn't make sense, but it looks badass. And again, that's the reason for this character. He's badass. Now we talk about concept. So you got a construct. That's great. You got a ferocity of Atrocitus, which is great. And frankly, he's the only Atrocitus out there, so I think the concept's a 4 out of 5 for those reasons. Yes, my views and rankings could be subjective because I've had a few to drink, but that's like every review. Design has some significant issues. Nothing that hurts the statue. I want to emphasize that enough. There are a lot of issues here, but it's nothing that hurts the statue. It's more of an annoyance and a WTF type shit. And here's part of the assembly, and I'll tell you why it's only part after this. It was only one huge 80-pound box with the pretty cool art box on top, as you can see right here, and 2 layers with tons and tons of pieces. Most of the pieces were the construct, which is where some of the issue comes in we'll talk about. All right, so I still have 7 construct pieces that we can't figure out where the fuck they go. We went through it thoroughly. We can't figure out where they go. The ones that fit well. So obviously that's a miss when you have 7 construct pieces. You can't figure out where they go, and you're thinking, well, why don't you reach out to the commissioner? Commissioner had a factory do a video on it, and this was the video. All right, I'm going to take a piece here, not even show you what piece it is, and put it in right here. Horrible fucking video, and it was on 3 times speed. Might as well as not even put a video. So that's big issue number 1. I have all these construct pieces. I can't figure out where they go. Now, as a reminder, whichever one you're more sober with, I can't find out where they go, so it doesn't look like they're missing. But clearly, we know they're missing from somewhere, and we've examined both of these multiple times. So another very similar issue where it's like, hey, this is kind of an issue, but does it really affect things, is the switch out. So let's talk about those. So first of all, you have 2 left arms. Now they made 2 different versions of these. One is a regular, one is a deluxe, the one that I have. And I'm not sure what the regular has, but the deluxe has 2 left arms. One is where he's pointing at you. Maybe he's laughing, I don't know. The other one, he's crushing the lantern. Clearly the way to go. But the point is cool, and as you see on the deluxe, you actually have a separate proximity bust where you can plug those extra pieces into. Now, there are 3/4 additional portraits. Why do I say 3/4? Because number 4 and number 3 are identical other than one thing, and it has nothing to do with the face. So let me show you the 3 different ones first. First one, he's growling, and the construct's coming out of his mouth, which, like I said, doesn't make a lot of logistical sense, but it looks cool. The other one, he has his horns, and because I don't know too much about the character, I don't know if this is comic accurate, which one's more comic accurate, but this looks badass as well. Then the last one, I have two portraits of, because I'm going to tell you why in a second, where he's kind of grimacing, also looks very badass. Now that last portrait, you can see it here on the proximity piece. On the proximity piece, he has a keyhole that only fits right here. So this portrait only fits right here. It will not go on this head or it will not go on that head. But I have the additional portrait that does go on those heads, but the portrait's exactly the same. So weird. I've never gotten two identical portraits where one fits in just the proximity piece on the side and one fits up top. But it does allow you to display all of the portraits at the same time if you do it this way. If you wanted to display that portrait on one of the mains, then you would have a little bit of a gap there because these portraits do not go into this little slot right here. So really weird. Now, thankfully, all three of the portraits are amazingly badass. And I do like the additional proximity piece. Let's get some measurements. So a little hard to tell, but the main piece here, the widest point is probably about 16.5, 17 inches, maybe a little bit more with some of the wisps. Yeah, I said wisps. Depth, the deepest part is about the same, 17.5. The base itself is about 13. Tallest part with Atrocitus is just under 26.5 inches. Proximity piece is 13 inches tall, 12 inches wide, and who the hell cares how deep it is. So this is quarter scale, 4 times smaller than a real life version. Like I said, I'm going to put it right next to that Sinestro. If you want to see what he looks like in the collection, please look at the Extreme Channel social media, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. The link for those is in the description below. So design. Bad assembly. If I really liked that portrait, it would kind of screw things up, but it is my least favorite portrait, although it's still great. And initially, when I was assembling this, and I have all these extra pieces, and some are big with big keys that I couldn't figure out where there's empty spots. One of them, I'm pretty sure, by the way, is supposed to go under the chin with the magnet, but there is no magnet there, so it doesn't work. So initially, I was going to give this like a 1 score, but honestly, looking at it, it works really well. It looks really fancy. So I'm between a 2 and a 3, and I always try and go with the lower score. I'm going to say a 2 on the design for this. And overall, it's really elaborate, so I should probably give it a little bit more respect and a little bit more props, but I'm not. Because when you're drunk trying to assemble something, you get pissed off easy. So one other note about the design as well. Because we had so many pieces of the construct that were connected, there are a lot of seam lines. They are all in the back. There are none really showing on the front, and they're even hard to see there. So that's still decent. Again, I'm trying to justify why I could have raised the score to a 2 or a 3, but I'm not going to. Paint and sculpt. Looks great in my opinion. You know, I remember when I saw the renders for this, I was like, wow, if this can be made into an actual statue, I'm in just because he looks badass. And I think they delivered. Check it out. So the difficult part about reviewing this is the overwhelming red, besides my inebriated state. What I do like is they chose the construct to be a translucent resin. I think this is really important, whether it's a green, any type of lantern statue, really. And it also differentiates it from the rest of the statue. Not only, you know, like the additional portrait we were talking about, or the big bowl, or whatever that is on the front. And then that's even a different shade of red than Atrocitus's costume himself, although his skin is decently similar to that. But I love the sculpt of Atrocitus and the construct, really. I love how the waves are going everywhere, the different strands. It just really looks like it's kind of like a bubbling pool. I think they pulled that off really nicely. And the translucent resin they used, translucent is almost a generous term because it's not too clear. But the bowl looks great. These nasty-ass teeth, which you see on all the portraits. Kind of this cracked buffalo hide skin, rhino-like skin with the red tint to it that you see everywhere. Just looks really badass. And again, good highlighting on the horns. I like the ridges on these horns over here. His costume looks great as well. You can still see his anatomy. Very muscular, very buff, with almost like these spikes coming out of his costume everywhere. Really reminds me of almost a Doomsday type scenario. Has the lantern symbol on his chest. Here's the ring, by the way. We didn't really get a good look at that. Him crushing the lantern has kind of this nice shine to it, as well does the ring, so they kind of match. Again, a different type of red overall. Amazing looking portrait. Those beady yellow eyes just look great. Sharp teeth. Again, that kind of cracked rhino-like skin everywhere. I think these are supposed to be veins, which logically doesn't make sense, but it still looks really good in the statue itself, and you see that on the extra bust display too. I'll give you a quick look around, closer look at the construct on the back, and even the back of Atrocitus. I think the black's a nice contrast to the color, kind of brings it together but keeps it very evil. And I think it's his normal costume too. It's just kind of an attribute to the comics. Super long nails, just really decrepit, evil type stuff. I held my hand up, but you guys couldn't see it because you're on the other side of the camera. But I really like it. I think they did a nice job with the paint. It's kind of hard to get past all the red, but that's comic accurate and that's what it should be. But the sculpt, I think, is done very, very well. Paint. Solid 3 out of 5. Absolutely. So much red, but I think it's meant to be. Sculpt is a 4 out of 5 in my opinion. He looks incredibly badass. You know, it's funny, this commissioner group is known for just making badass characters, and they knock it out of the park every single time. I think they did here. Value is a little tough because this one, it's interesting on the design. It is very, very heavy, but it's all right here. And I forgot to look how many they made on the bottom. I think it was 40. At the most, it'd be 60, but I'm guessing I'm right at 40. And this exclusive was like $1,200. Without the other one, it was like $1,000 or something. I don't even know. But I think all in all, they made 40, $1,200. No other statues of Atrocitus. Lots of Green Lantern statues. Very few Sinestro statues. I think the value is a 3 out of 5. I think it's what you expect. If you have someone who's really into DC, really into Lantern, really into the Lantern Corps, they'll want this. Or maybe you have drunk people who buy anything like me. But 3 out of 5, I think I could get my money back. Is this a 5 out of 5 statue? You know, this was one of my own, Get it together, Chief. This was one of my most anticipated statues for a long time. I'm not disappointed. I'm not throwing up either. I'm not disappointed with it, but it's not a 5 out of 5. It's a 4 out of 5. I feel good giving it a 4 out of 5. I thought it'd be a 5 out of 5. I'm not disappointed. 4 out of 5 is still better than expected. Unless you expected a 5 out of 5, then my whole scale doesn't make sense, which it's all subjective anyway, so I might have been toying with your guys' mind for years. Or if this is your first time watching, you're like, is this guy always drunk? Yes, I am. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Again, if you want to see what it looks like in the collection, make sure to check that out. And throw in the comments below what you think the best Green Lantern statue is. Never seen one I loved. But I appreciate you guys watching. I'll talk to you soon. And now I'm going to go throw it. Oh, another piece.